Hanifa Shabazz, President of Wilmington City Council. And I'd just like to share with you what got me into going into public service. I've always been active in the community through the bookstore, the Drumbeat newspaper, the African Festival, and there was an incident in my neighborhood where there were some children being gathered by some young white males and just collecting children as they came through the neighborhood, which I thought was strange. And I asked them, why were they collecting the children? Where were they taking the children? And did they have any form of identification? My neighbors saw me talking with them and were kind of curious as to what the conversation was. And I asked them to check around the corner to see if what they stated of being a church from the northern part of Wilmington coming into the neighborhood to give out free food and hot dogs. And I just felt a little taken, because how could someone easily come into our neighborhood to just gather children all under the premise of giving out free food and free hot dogs, and we easily let our children go. So I was a little outraged and said I was going to go to the Civic Association meeting and tell us we have to be more cautious about who comes in and out of our neighborhoods and gathers our most precious commodity, our children. My neighbor, Winston Truitt, saw the conversation and came down and told me. I asked what was going on, and I shared with him. He said, that's why you should run for office, because we need your voice to speak for the voiceless. Current State Representative Stephanie T. Bolden had already encouraged me the term before to run, but I didn't bite the apple. But this time, along with the support of my family, I decided to run. The seat was open, and the rest is history. I was elected for the 4th District Council Representative for 3 terms, and then on to the presidency. As soon as I got on council, I immediately jumped in it with both feet and arms and head and everything. The fact that I could get the Neighborhood Assistance Act to get monies to assist the neighborhood house with some of their instructional needs, that was exciting. That we used the facade program over in Southbridge to do some beautification in the neighborhood. I think those were exciting moments to know that I was doing it, really making an impact. But I think the time when a neighbor called me from Church Street, there was a senior who was living in that house, and the house was collapsing in on her. She was a hoarder, and she was living at a 1 room in her living room. I mean, with a potty chair or little refrigerator. And the fact that I befriended her, because she wouldn't let anybody come in the house, when I befriended her to the point where she trusted me, and I could help her get into a safe living quarters in Ingleside Homes and get things straight. That right there was so rewarding to know that doing my job saved a woman's life and have left her having a more quality life by living in Ingleside Homes. These 16 years of serving in public service, I've used 4 E's, which stands for education. I think once the community is knowledgeable about their civic responsibility and how the public officials should be held accountable for doing their job in addressing civic needs, I think was the first thing I thought was the most important, because I also had to learn. And with that education, the second E came about empowerment. It empowered our citizens. Southbridge formed the small working group, the SAMP plan, the South Wilmington Planning Network. Eastside residents were empowered to participate in the Blueprint community, which has now grown to the Central Baptist CDC, and a project called Eastside Rising. West Center City became empowered, and they also did a revitalization plan that's known as the West Center City Futures. So when you educate the citizens about how they too can be involved in making their life better, you got civil engagement from a community grassroots level, who then provides great information to us public officials, to us to make legislation and policies that makes us have a better quality of life, which leads to the 3rd E, which is economics. Everything requires the economics of to fulfill what plans that you might have for your neighborhood. Who else best knows where the trash cans need to be? Who else best knows where we might need a laundromat? Who else best knows that we don't want that big industry coming into our neighborhood because it adds contaminants to our environment? The last E because what we breathe and see is important to a quality of life. So the 4 E's has been the principles that I have stood on in my governing as a public official. And I constantly and continuously encourage all of you listening to me that once a month, 1 hour meeting to know what's going on in your community, to have say what happens to your community, to keep up on what's going on in your community is how you're going to be sure that you control your neighborhood and Wilmington becomes the city of neighborhoods, which it is known for. And so I just want to, again, thank all those who have participated to make the civic associations be as powerful as they are. And those who've been thinking about it, I want to encourage you to come on out, look on the Wilmington City Council website and WITN 22. You see the dates and times when your civic meeting is, and get involved, get engaged. There's a lot of things that we need to fix in our neighborhoods, and I'm dependent upon you to help make it happen. Remember, for all the information about what's happening on Wilmington City Council or happenings here in the city of Wilmington, continue to tune in to WITN 22. Follow us on social media or visit our website at wilmingtoncitycouncil.com. Have a great week, Wilmington.